Hello again, welcome back to the channel. Glad you could join me. So I recently finished Skulduggery Pleasant, Dark Days. Let's see. I'm trying to look it up. I had it before, but I closed it, and I don't know why I did that. Okay, this is the fourth book in the Skulduggery Pleasant series. All right, so first off, spoiler alert, if you haven't read Skulduggery Pleasant, the Faceless Ones, you've seen my review. I try to keep things as spoiler-free as possible. However, this does continue on from Book 3, which means that the events in Book 3 directly impact what happens at the start, at least, of Book 4. Okay. So, Valkyrie Kane, a.k.a. Stephanie Edgley, or the other way around. So, Valkyrie Kane is Stephanie Edgley's sorceress identity. Derek Landy did the thing where if you know somebody's name, you have power over them, and so sorcerers take on another name that allows them to keep their powers to themselves, kind of thing. Anyway, there's a bit of a inconsistency here in my mind. Anyway. We'll probably not get into that. However, Skulduggery Pleasant at the end of the Faceless Ones. The bad guys brought back several of the Faceless Ones, and Skulduggery and his team managed to send them back through the portal and exile them again from Earth. However, the Faceless Ones took Skulduggery Pleasant with them when they left, so he was gone. Now, Valkyrie Kane has spent the last, I believe it was 11 months, most of a year, looking for a way to bring Skulduggery back. Basically, they needed something that was intrinsic to him to be able to find where he was, to open the portal and pull him back into our world. Fortunately for them, Skulduggery Pleasant's skull had been stolen from him. The skull he had been using was not his. It was just one that he was using. He wasn't sure where his skull actually was. So his skull did actually still exist on Earth, and they could use it to find him. So Valkyrie and her friends had been searching everywhere for the past almost a year, I believe it was 11 months, trying to track down his skull. Which they finally did. They were able to bring him back, and not everything was hunky-dory. He spent the last 11 months being torn apart over and over by the Faceless Ones. So he was a little more unstable than usual. Although it hints that he's more unstable than usual, but at the same time, he seems to bounce back really quickly. Anyway, that's what I thought this book was going to be about, but they basically figured everything out in the first few chapters, and Skulduggery Pleasant was back for the rest of the book. So the chase for Skulduggery's skull so that they could, bring him back was not the main focus of this book. Instead, a man named Draylen Scarab, he's been in prison for the past 200 years. 200 years ago during the war they all talk about, he was convicted and put in prison for killing someone. He was on the bad guy's side, so he was with those who were trying to bring back the Faceless Ones and destroy all that's good and right and all that other stuff. So he was a bad guy, but he was upset that they sent him to prison because they sent him to prison for killing someone he didn't kill. Upon getting released from prison, he decides to go after those who put him in prison in the first place, and to make sure that they were punished as much as he was. He gets in touch with his son, Billy Ray Sanguine, and if you've read the books, you know that Billy Ray is someone who's been in these books before. And he gets in touch with Dusk. Dusk has been a fixture in these books before. He's a vampire who has a grudge against Valkyrie. Valkyrie stole Billy Ray Sanguine's straight razor and used it on Dusk's face, and wounds created by his straight razor do not heal. So Dusk has a scar across his face that he shouldn't have because he's a vampire. It should be gone. They also get in touch with one more person. I'm trying to remember his name. Basically, he's been a fixture before. He's a minor villain that has crossed paths with Valkyrie. Valkyrie has always been able to beat him, and he is upset that Valkyrie is so easily able to outwit and overpower him. He thinks of himself as an artist. Scapegrace. Varian? Scapegrace? I believe is his name. Anyway, he fashions himself a connoisseur of an artist of murder, but he's never actually killed anyone. So he gets all these people together with the idea that they will take an artifact called the it's a bomb, a very, very nasty bomb. And the idea here is that they'll take this bomb that's been in the sanctuary, it's been impounded, nobody has access to it. They'll steal it, they'll get it activated, and they will use it to enact their revenge. So most of the book is about them trying to figure out what these four people are doing, and to stop them, to make it so that they fail in their task of blowing up this bomb and completing their revenge. Excuse me. I didn't really like this one as much as I've liked the others. I'm not entirely sure why. There are a couple of things in here. There's some foreshadowing going on that I feel is maybe a little too heavy-handed, Maybe that's why, I say maybe, not that it's maybe too heavy-handed, but maybe that's why I didn't like this one as much because of this heavy-handed foreshadowing that I feel is going on. In addition, there are some things, skullduggery. Derek Landy implies that he's very much unhinged from his experience being torn apart day by day by the Faceless Ones. And yet, once he gets back to reality, he has a couple of instances where he still thinks he might be hallucinating, that he might not have been rescued from the Faceless Ones. But that very clearly goes by the wayside very quickly, and we don't revisit it after that. The bad guys kind of imply that Skulduggery Pleasant is as bad as they are, if not worse. And okay, I guess. I mean, you can imply that and you can say that as much as you want, but us, the reader, we only know from what we've been given by the author. And the author has definitely made it clear that Skulduggery Pleasant is a good guy. Now, maybe he did some questionable things in his past, but we've never actually run into any of the evidence for that. All we have is Skulduggery Pleasant obviously trying to protect innocent people from being hurt by these bad guys. So I don't buy it. Now, you can hint it all you want, but like I said, I'm not buying it. Maybe if you brought the receipts, as it were, we would be more inclined to start doubting Skulduggery Pleasant and his and his motives. All that I've been given so far is to doubt China. Not China the country, China the character. I forget what her name is. China Sorrows. That's her name. China Sorrows, all I've been given really is evidence to doubt her, not to doubt Skulduggery. And Skulduggery was correct in the previous book about there being a leak coming from the sanctuary. He was incorrect about who it was, and in this book he was correct about what happened with Draylen Scarab, in what actually happened to him and why he ended up in prison and why he's doing all this. And he does blame the right person this time for what happened to him. So all I'm seeing is he's a good guy. He's unquestionably a good guy, and yet your bad guys who you've shown over and over again are untrustworthy, evil people. That they're trying to cast doubt on your main character, but they're not bringing anything to back it up. Why should I trust them? They're bad guys. I already know this. There's no reason to trust them. You need to have provided some proof that, like, he's not as good as you say. Check out this one thing. That would have at least said to me, maybe there is some evidence that Skulduggery is not quite as good as he pretends to be. Yes, his name is Skulduggery. I think that was... yeah, anyway. That's it for today. Let me know if you've read any other books by Derek Landy in the Skulduggery Pleasant series. I don't know that I'll be going back. I'm not sure. At least for right now, I'm going to put Skulduggery Pleasant aside and I'm going to move on to some other books. That's it for today. Like, share, subscribe, comment down below, and until next time, enjoy what you're reading.